plan to distribute that money. So as we sit and try to balance our budget and get our budget done on time, and we have deficient staff members because we can't hire people, the state of Michigan's sitting on a bunch of money and unpaid promises to the communities. So pretty disgusting. And I think that we need to generate a request to our legislators, and certainly that's what Chris Hackbarth's recommendation was. So as I get more of that information, we'll get it to Brian, have Brian stir up something, and certainly we will correspond with our legislators and tell them how dissatisfied we are with the funding scheme for communities, and certainly we'll invite all of our community members to do the same thing. So other than that, all of the items that they went over were really, really good and informative. So moving on into, we'll move to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of our scheduled agenda items? Yes?
I'm Amanda tonight.
Yep.
I'd like to comment on number 10.
Amanda tonight? Okay. Anybody else? Les? Nope. All right. All right, moving on into D, consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of August 2nd, 2021. Item 2, resignation of Patrick Brewster from the Community Services Board. Item 3 is acceptance of the PEHP Board Police Patrol Records Unit meeting minutes of August 18th, 2020. Item 4 is acceptance of the PEHP Board Department of Public Works Unit meeting minutes of August 25th, 2020. Item 5 is consideration of award a bid for the purchase of Microsoft Office 365. Item 6 is consideration of a request to waive the public bidding requirement and sell city-owned parcel 051-438-00800 to Lindsay and Eric McDonald for $9,306. Item 7 is consideration of Walmart Community Grant application, and item 8 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Is there any commissioner that would like any individual item removed for individual consideration, or would like anything further explained? Seeing none, Commissioner Twardy.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bospis Raff,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you very much. Moving on into item E, which is special orders of business. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a request to repeal the city's ordinances related to mechanical installations in our building and building regulations. This is the second reading tonight. We do have to open it up for public comments. If there are no public comments received, if the commission is in agreement, we would look for a motion to repeal the ordinance as presented. And again, this item is particularly stemming from the change of our building inspector and the inability to find one that has the numerous licenses that the former inspector had. So we hired a new person, but we no longer will be able to do the mechanical inspections. So that would be farmed out to the state. So we're going to repeal the ordinance pertaining to that function. Yeah.
Okay, we will open up a public hearing on the ordinance repealing Article 7 Mechanical Installations, Chapter 8 Buildings and Building Regulations of the Sault Ste. Marie Code of Ordinances. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Again, this is a public hearing to repeal the Article 7 and Chapter 8 of the Sault Ste. Marie Code of Ordinances. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Is there any commissioner has any questions or comments? Commissioner Bauer.
I do have one question, and that is whether or not we had any applicants that met the criteria that would have qualified them to do mechanical installation inspections?
No, sir. We had one applicant, and we made one hire.
I know how that feels.
It only takes one.
And I don't even laugh at it. The person we hired is very qualified. He'll be a great inspector for us, but unfortunately, he did not have that license. But this was, I was gonna say this is one of the harder ones we had to do, but this is similar to all the other ones we had to do where the, while we pulled out good hires, the applicant process didn't yield a whole lot of resumes, so.
We laugh because that was a famous quote by Commissioner Bauer prior to your arrival. When we talked about the amount of applicants we
true.
had, and Commissioner Bauer said it only takes one.
That's true.
It is.
It's true today.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments?
Do you want a motion?
Sure.
So moved that we adopt the included ordinance repealing Article 7, Chapter 8 of the Sault Ste. Marie Code of Ordinances.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 2, under special orders of business, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a second reading of an ordinance to rezone several parcels of the Sanderson Field Municipal Airport. The rezones will take them from the hodgepodge of residential and industrial zoning that they currently have to one zoning designation for Air Park District. So this is the second reading. We need to take comments on it and then a motion to approve as presented.
Okay, we will open up a public hearing on the adoption of an ordinance rezoning Sanderson Field Municipal Airport, its runway protection zones and airport industrial lot park lots 4 through 8 inclusive to the airport zoning district. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments in our public hearing? Bueller? We will now close the public hearing and go to the commission. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Baspas Rath, would you like to make the motion?
Absolutely. Motion to adopt the included ordinance rezoning Sanderson Field Municipal Airports, its runway protection zones and airport industrial park lots 4 through 8 inclusive to the airport zoning district.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Moving on to G, business items. Number 1, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to approve the amended purchasing policy as presented. This request is coming from staff and I. What's essentially been happening is the thresholds on the existing policy are so low, it's a bit burdensome for us to facilitate any kind of purchases. Right now, anything that's over $1,000 has to have, $1,000 has to have, under $1,000 needs to be purchased by, or can be purchased at department head's discretion. $1,000 to $10,000 require public notice and 3 quotes. And it's not the dollar amount, it's closer to the $10,000 that's hanging us up. It's the dollar amounts at $1,000, especially within our public works, our water utility, our wastewater utility. You can't buy an ink pen for the wastewater plant that's less than $5,000. So it's really kind of, it's putting in a lot of extra time. There's emergency repairs that we've been doing that they're emergency that they need to get done. They could be an impact, but we would just prefer to clean up the policy so that we have a little bit bigger thresholds for our department heads and their purchases. So what the recommended changes are is purchases made, or purchases under $5,000 can be purchased at the department head's discretion. $5,000 to $10,000 require public notice and 3 quotes, and purchase over $10,000 required sealed bids and the commission approval at that step. So what we're looking to do is just try to streamline our process a little bit and make our staff a little bit more efficient by upping that threshold. I would say $1,000 is really low $5,000 is kind of that sweet spot. And again, we run into single items that are $1,200, some are sole sourced, or we ran into the situation of shopping carts. Maybe they go to an Alta and they buy several parts, and that shopping cart is $1,200 or $1,300. So trying to find an easy way to massage those purchases through the policy, we just thought we would just up the thresholds with the commission's blessing to make it easier on us. So we would look for a motion to approve the purchasing policy as presented.
Commission, any questions or comments?
And I didn't say this, I'll say this since you guys are still thinking of all the questions they asked me. It is still a requirement for the department heads to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. So they're not just gonna pick whatever store or whatever person and buy it from. They will still do their due diligence, but it's just a less formal process in doing that.
And they have to be within budget, and you review all of the purchases.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there's a municipality that I talk to the mayor quite frequently, and I won't throw them under the bus, but it's 45 miles north, or south of us, but they have zero authority, and they complain every day about it. It's terrible. It's very inefficient and very difficult to do, and I think these certainly make sense, and they're still not large purchases at that point, so. Commissioner Tuarte.
Just a comment, yeah, I mean, last time we had changed this policy was August of 2009, and probably the price of goods has gone up quite a bit since then. So I think this is great. I hope that it will speed up efficiency and streamline, like you said, the departments, and especially the department heads. So I'm in favor.
Do you want to make the motion?
Make a motion to approve the purchasing policy as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Now you can fill up the car without having to get a quote on it.
I don't wanna say there'll be champagne tomorrow at the staff meeting, but the department heads will be very grateful for that. Thank you.
Item 2, under business items.
Up next for commission consideration is a request to enter into an agreement with West Michigan Instrumentations for planned upgrades and a SCADA system at the water treatment facility. This is a budgeted project that we put in the CIP while we're making this fiscal year's budget. We sent out an RFP. We had 8 vendors interested, 6 bid on the project. The lowest and the most qualified one is West Michigan Instrumentation for a project budget of $153,500. We did review their plan. Director Tews was in contact with that group to make sure that they are able to do the work that we need them to do. So we feel comfortable with them. And with that, we would look for a motion to award the bid and combine, motion as presented, excuse me.
All right, thanks, City Manager. Any questions or comments for City Manager? Commissioner Collins, you want to make a bid?
Motion to approve as presented.
Support. Been moved and supported. A roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 3, under business item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to identify IDEX Corporation as our sole source provider for certain testing equipment at the water treatment plant. This was one of those gray areas. We weren't quite sure how it fit with the purchasing policy here, so we just felt it best to bring it to the commission to get formal approval. IDEX Corporation supplies our lab at the water treatment plant with numerous tests and equipment. They are the only provider that we can use, as our certifications are based on their standards. The individual purchases may come in at $1,000 or less, but the overall total that we'll spend with this corporation is probably about $15,000 is what we have budgeted. So just erring on the sake of transparency, making sure everything's on the up and up, we're making a request for the commission to identify IDEX Corporation as our sole source provider.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments for the City Manager? Commissioner Talentino?
We need two motions on that one?
Just one,
Yeah. Well, just one?
just one.
Just one on that? Okay. A motion to suspend the competitive bid process to IDEX Corporation as they are the sole provider of testing supplies for our certified laboratory. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 4 of 10.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to purchase and outfit a 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor. This purchase was budgeted in the current CIP and operating budget. The department right now needs a new vehicle, so we are looking to make this purchase as quickly as possible. We did put bids out for the vehicle itself, the Ford Utility Police Interceptor. And we received a couple of bids. We did not receive one from the local Ford dealer. They said they didn't have one. They didn't have the ability to get us one. So we are moving with an outside entity to fulfill that order. So this particular item has 4 motions to it. Motion to award the bid for the police interceptor, motion to request waiving the purchasing policy, and motions to approve outfitting the vehicle, one for the new equipment that would go into it and one for the graphics that would go onto it. So 4 motions with this one.
Any questions or comments for the city manager? Why don't we give this one to Commissioner Bauer since he has radio voice?
Sure. The radio face. But, I'd like to make a motion that we award the 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor bid to Signature Ford out of Owasso for the amount of $34,189.
Support.
Been moved and
Say,
supported.
everybody don't all jump on
Yeah.
that at once.
Do I have to move spaces? Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Motion passed. Commissioner Bauer.
I further move to forego the city's purchasing policy, the RFQ requirement to strip old Ford Utility and outfit the new Ford Utility.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes. Motion passed. Commissioner Bauer.
I further move to approve the quote from Mark Wilk in the amount of $4,955 to strip the old Ford Utility and outfit the new Ford Utility.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baspas Rath?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Commissioner Bauer, last one.
And finally, I move to approve the quote from the graphics shop in the amount of $434 to stripe and decal the new 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath?
Yes.
And motion passed unanimously. Did I strike the wrong thing on the third one? I was moving so many, I was asking the city clerk. Okay. We were moving so fast and furious on those, I don't know if I hit the right one. All right, so item 5 under business items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is a request coming in from the police department to purchase and replace 2 police department doors. The building that we currently have is old. There's some maintenance that needs to be done, this being in particular one of them. There's a great big gap, about 2 inches underneath the doors, that on a cool winter days doesn't let the place really warm up. And it's right outside the new chief's office, so want to make sure we take care of that. So we did put out an RFP. We got one back for $7,787. This particular item has two motions associated to it, motion to award the bid, and then a motion to amend the budget in the project amount.
That wasn't a very good sales pitch. You should be out on the road, right? Anybody have any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Collins, you want to make the motion?
Motion to award the steel door replacement with peephole bid to American Glass and Mirror in the amount of $7,787.
Support?
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Collins.
Motion to amend the 2021-2022 budget, line item 101-301-931.000, with an additional $6,500 in the funding to come from the general fund.
Support?
Been moved and supported. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Number 6 under business items, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is a request to enter into an agreement with C2AE for professional engineering services related to the Easterday Avenue reconstruction of the Carbide Dock, a larger project that's set to commence next summer. C2AE has been the engineer that's been with us on this project since the start. This is the next step in moving that project along. The project administration cost associated with this is $630,400, of which most of it, actually all of it, will be covered with the $23 million in Carbide grant dollars that we secured. So there is no local match on this one. With that, we look for a motion to approve the contract amendment as presented.
Thank you, city manager. Any questions for the city manager? Commissioner Baspas Rath, it's a single part motion.
Thank you. Motion to approve the contract amendment with C2AE for professional engineering services for the Easterday Avenue reconstruction Carbide Dock projects in the amount of $630,400 and authorize the city manager to execute the amendment.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you very much. Item number 7, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to approve an agreement to allow UPTA to hook up sanitary services to our existing infrastructure. This item came to the commission a few months ago, at which UPTA came to the commission again asking for the ability to hook up to the sanitary as their project went way over budget, and the ability to treat their own waste on their facility just exceeded their budget. So the commission gave the approval in concept a few months ago. Since that time, we've written out an agreement. UPTA Board of Directors has approved it. Sioux Township has approved it. So this will be the last stop in this agreement's journey here. So we look for a motion to approve the agreement as presented. And fiscally, all maintenance and all capital costs will be covered by UPTA. So there will be no ongoing maintenance costs or anything for the city.
Thank you, city manager. Any questions for him? Commissioner Collins.
So I see we're not doing the 425 agreement, and it says that it's a franchise agreement. What exactly does that entail?
So the 425 agreement is the economic development tool that, say, a private business was going to go out in the township, they wanted water and sewer. The biggest piece of that being a tax-paying entity as well. What that is that allows that piece of property to be more or less considered city, to which we tax it at the city rate. And then eventually it's supposed to come back to us, I think after like a term of 50 years. We split that tax revenue with the township based on their existing millage. So that's the one tool. In cases like this one, where it's a not-for-profit and it's a government entity, we create franchise agreements, which is just basically a license that says they can hook up to our system.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Talentino, you want to make the motion?
Sure, Your Honor. Motion to approve the agreement as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Poskett Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Item number 8, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is 2 requests related to the MEDC Match on Main grant that the DDA was awarded a few months ago. This is a cleanup item here. New employee didn't necessarily understand the process, so the DDA approved the agreement to which he executed it, but it still needed to come to the commission for final blessing and then authorization to expend those dollars. So within this item is 2 motions: motion to approve the federal grant, and then a motion to approve a budget revision to expend those accounts, or expend those funds.
All right, any questions for the city manager? Commissioner Tuarty, would you like to make the motions for the
Certainly.
cleanup?
First motion to approve the federal grant award in the amount of $25,000 for the Match on Main to be passed along to the Sue Locks Candy Shop project.
Support.
Any questions from the commission? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Poskett Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Motion passed. Commissioner Tuarty.
Sure. Motion to approve a budget revision of $25,000 in revenue and expense for the DDA budget.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Poskett Rath.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on, item number 9. Correct?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, if you
That was
want.
me.
You want me to read it?
Go ahead, Commissioner Collins.
Basically, I've just requested to be replaced as the commission liaison for the Airport Advisory Board. They meet every Thursday, or the second Thursday of each month at 8 a.m. I have a conflict with my regulating body on that day and time, so I've been able to attend it the last couple of times, and I just can't make that work.
All right.
So we don't need necessarily a motion or a vote, but if there's somebody that would like to step into that role, we can facilitate that.
Anybody want to step in as the airport liaison? I know Commissioner.
I would love to, but I just can't.
I'm wondering if maybe Commissioner Miller might.
He might, and if he doesn't, then I would be willing to. I don't know, we have not had the mayor in a liaison role, but that was formerly my committee, and
It's a great
I
committee.
actually kind of miss it. Yeah, it's pretty cool, so.
You learn a lot.
We'll ask Commissioner Miller, and if he is unable, then I'll certainly do it, so.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So
All right.
we will handle that.
Thank you very much. Moving on into number 10, final item in business items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last for commission consideration is a request to move several projects back into their originating funds. Presented here is a list of projects. We're trying to close out some of the projects that we just don't have the time to do or we're just not doing. There's 6 projects here listed. I did receive an update from Rotary on 2 projects, so I would like to exclude those from this list. So we would look for a motion to authorize return of capital projects with the exception of the 2 Rotary projects.
All right, thank you, city manager. And Amanda tonight said she'd like to make some comments. I don't know if, are they still relevant after removing 3 and 4? Sorry to make you wait. I guess that's good news if it's been taken care of, right? All right. Commission, anybody have any questions or comments? Commissioner Poskett Rath, would you like to make the motion?
Absolutely. Motion to authorize the return of capital project funds to the source fund for projects that have been completed under budget and carrying over unspent budget for capital equipment line items for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Support.
Wait, With the exception of the two, excluding the two
Oh,
rotary projects.
sorry, excluding
Just say the two rotary projects.
the 2 rotary projects.
Support.
Not that I'm trying to put words in your mouth.
It's fine.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Sure, Mr. Collins.
So the funds that are being basically removed is going back to the general fund, correct?
No, sir, they were going back to their originating fund. So for example, number 1, West Third Avenue pump replacement. It was funded by the sewer equipment reserve. That will go back to the sewer equipment reserve fund. Same thing with City Hall parking lot mill and fill. That will go back to the gaming fund, which it was originally budgeted for out of.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We have motion and support, correct? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Glad we so quickly took care of your request. Moving on into item H, which is city manager announcements and updates. City Manager Chapman.
All right, a few updates for the commission tonight. First one is the Power Canal Project, Phase 1, that is starting major work tomorrow. Phase 1 should be wrapped up here by the end of the month, early next month. Phase 2 will happen next summer. We're working on the grant documentation right now. We should have that submitted to the state here pretty soon. So you'll start to see a lot more activity around the Power Canal area related to this project. The downtown access and placemaking project is still moving forward. We have hit some supply issues, some scheduling issues, but for the most part, it's still moving forward. I think everything right now is about pushed out 2 weeks or so. Arlington's still set to happen at the end of the summer, but it may just be a little bit later. So the vast majority of that project is still on track to at least be wrapped up by the early fall there. So that one's still moving forward. That one's going good. The Carbide Dock and Easter Day project, you approved an agreement for C2AE today. We're at the point where we'll be able to bid out that work next Friday. We got it set to come back in about a month, and shortly after that, we'll bring it to the commission for final approval for whatever construction contracting company that has the best bid there. So probably looking for that about mid-October, November to bring those bids back. So that one's moving forward. Big meter project that we discussed with you all during the budget process there. That is the upgrades to every meter in all residential, commercial, and industrial facilities. That one's still moving forward. Their computers, so they're being hit with supply issues. We were thinking some of those would go in about this fall, but it turns out it'll probably be early winter that the company will come into town and start replacing them out with everyone. So we'll make sure we're getting a lot more information out, but we just got to hammer down those timelines first before we start telling people when it will be out there. So that one's still moving forward. That'll be a big project. Just as a reminder, the first commission meeting in September will be on a Tuesday because of Labor Day. So don't show up on Monday, and do show up on Tuesday. And then I will be out of the office September 3rd, so, for Labor Day.
So I don't see anybody in the audience from Peck Street, but maybe just as a reminder.
Yeah, so we are still working with the Peck Street residents. The claims and adjusters have contacted all the residents. They're still moving through all of that process. It sounds like it's moving pretty quickly. I'm sure somebody may say otherwise, but we are still working with the residents, and the claims adjusters are still going in the area. So, yep, we're still moving forward with all that stuff.
Thank you to you and Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer for all your work on those. I know those are difficult, so.
Yeah.
All right, anybody have any questions or comments for City Manager? Thank you for your report. Item I is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item J, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Baspis-Rath.
I just have one to remind everybody that this Saturday, the Chippewa County Community Foundation and partners with Bird's Eye Outfitters is doing the 4th annual Sioux Ultimate Paddle Day, the SUP Day. It's going to be at Rotary Park. Come out, celebrate, be on the water. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's always a good time, and I think the weather is going to be really nice, so that's all I had.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Tuarty?
I just wanted to give a continued thanks to our first responders in the city of Sault Ste. Marie, our police, our fire. We've had some crazy weather lately, and I live, about a block from the fire department and 2 blocks from the police department, so I hear the activity and just wanted to say thanks to all of them for their continued support to our community. We really appreciate it.
Good comments. Anybody else? You got any, Commissioner Bauer? You had a perplexed look there. All right, seeing none, Commissioner Twardy, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, move to adjourn.
Support.